first speaker, Pam. Pam works for American Chemical Society. I've been working with her very closely. She is extremely detail-oriented, goes by schedule, everything. So I love working with her. I'll let her talk to a little bit more about what she actually does at ACS. But we'll start with Pam.
The truth is I hound him relentlessly, so he has to be nice to me. As Gurvinder said, my name is Pam Snead. I'm the Web Products Manager for CNEN Magazine, and that's the flagship magazine for the American Chemical Society. Today I'm going to walk you through a case study of what we did for CNEN Mobile. So here, let me... So, CNEN Magazine is the flagship magazine of the American Chemical Society. We started in 1923, and it started out as a newsletter. Today, it's a full-fledged science magazine available to our 163,000 members. It's become the primary informational source of tech and industry news for chemists around the world. We have a loyal following of over 80% of our readers relying on publication for all our industry news. To meet our internationally located readers, we wanted to stay current, and we used all the popular delivery methods. So we're in print copy, we're via email and electronic PDF, and we through our website, and we've added the mobile app. So for this discussion, we're going to look at what we learned from ACS Mobile, what we did to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish. We're going to how we turned that idea into a reality, what lessons we learned, and what were our keys to success.
So before we even get into CNEN Mobile, we need to look at our original mobile product, which was ACS Mobile. We launched this in March 15th, 2010. It was our first foray into mobile apps. We developed it in-house and fairly quickly and cheaply. We had great in-house developers to do that. Our primary motivation for this app was to stay competitive, to give our users what they wanted, and to capitalize on a potential new revenue source. The purpose of the app was to allow users to stay current on new industry developments by allowing them to follow as soon as publishable or ASAP journal articles from our 39 ACS journal publications. Originally, we launched ACS Mobile as an iOS, iPhone-only app, but we have since expanded it to the tablet and the Android. There were two primary reasons we made the decision to make ACS free. We started out charging $4.99 and realized that that was not going to be a significant revenue source. The journal's website servers millions of users each year, and the app's pay model represented a barrier to use. So given the rapid adoption of smartphone use around the globe, we wanted to expand the interaction with ACS journal content in the mobile space. It benefited us as another innovative pathway to full text. As of April 30th, 2012, we have more than 22,000 downloads and well over 1 million abstract views and ASAP views. With ACS Mobile, we featured CNN Latest Newsfeed, which is a free list of ahead-of-print news stories from CNN. We found there was a significant following for that as well, with over 150,000 views. So what we learned. From ACS Mobile research and from CNN Analytics, we could clearly identify 5 key pieces of information about our users in the mobile market. 1, our membership had a strong interest in mobile apps. 2, there was a growth potential in CNN content. 3, our users were not likely to pay for an app as they viewed it as part of their ACS membership. 4, the Android market was growing. When ACS Mobile started, the Android market was only 6% of our total customer base. By the time we started our investigations in December 2010, the market had grown to 20%. And finally, we realized that the tablet market was not a fad. It was actually capturing a significant part of the Apple market, doubling its share within a year. So what did our users want? We asked them in questionnaires through our social media sites. We did polls, we did website questionnaires, and we created a pilot app and surveyed our members at our national convention in 2010. We had a great success with relatively little cost to do this pilot app, and we pulled it together very quickly in about 6 weeks.
We found some interesting facts. One, they wanted to read CNN on their phones, and they wanted the whole magazine, not just the latest news. They wanted to be able to download it to read it offline. They wanted to have a member access and not pay more for the mobile version. They wanted a mobile-optimized reading experience. They didn't want a reproduction of the PDF. And they wanted an optimized tablet experience. Note, these requirements evolved over time. They were a little more simple. We started out with, hey, they do want a PDF, and quickly realized they didn't. So we always paid attention to our reader feedback. So what did CNN want to gain? Most importantly, we wanted to address the needs and requests of our existing members. We saw how our members were increasingly adopting new mobile technologies, and they were asking for it from ACS. Additionally, we were looking for a means to expand our customer base and set ourselves up to take advantage of potential revenue opportunities. And we needed to establish presence. That's critical to stay current and look like we're with the times. So the next question was, what were our technical considerations? We identified our customer desires, we nailed down our business objectives, and technical implementation is the next step. We had identified 6 major technical requirements. 1, we wanted to build a universal app, meaning a single app that looked great on an iPhone and worked equally well on a tablet, making maximum use of the size and space and device features of each of the 2 devices. We needed it to work even when not connected to the internet. Customers need to be able to download the magazine to their device for offline reading. 3, we need to tie in with our internal authorization and authentication systems, and allow ACS members to use their ACS IDs and passwords seamlessly as if they were on their website. We need to make the app appealing to non-members as well. We need to give them something to purchase and free content to view and entice them. And we simply didn't want to reproduce our website, and we didn't want to reproduce PDFs. We wanted to give a rich experience. And finally, we needed to work flawlessly. That's critical. From the start, you cannot send out something buggy. All of the above led us to the decision that we needed to do a native app versus a web app. And finally, from a production and management perspective, we had to be mindful of the workload of our production team. We need to be able to get the content in a uniform, tagged, consistent manner and simply be able to automatically convert it and publish it in the app without a lot of manual intervention. We have a very small team doing the publication, and we couldn't suck up too much of their time. This is where our approach was a little unique. We chose to create a workflow system which automatically took the content and converted it into the XML, adding in all the appropriate tags. This required us to structure our production process and train our editors and writers to provide content consistently, and we built templates into our system that allowed them to do it easily. The workflow then fed the XML to our printer, our website, our digital production vendor, and to mobile. They did it all at once, same content feed to all distribution channels. With this setup, we could pick up the content, convert it, and upload it to a staging version of the app, make sure it worked okay, and push it live. And we did it all on a weekly basis. So this typically happened all on a Thursday night. Push a button, there it was, ready to go for Friday. The pros of this approach was it was uniform distribution of content, and it was an automation of the process. The downside is anything that was, say, only for the web or only for mobile had to go through the workflow just the same and be available and tagged so that it could be picked up by one system and not by another. And if we happened to have something that went to the web and didn't go through the workflow, then we'd have to manually insert it into mobile, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do. So what did we end up with? We ended up with CNN Mobile. It's a free app developed for Apple and Android with an in-app purchasing feature allowing members to purchase issues for $2.99 a piece. And they can download them to their device or store them in the iCloud. It allows ACS members to download issues to their device for free. In addition to the issue content, we offered latest news for free, free access to our Central Science blog section, and free access to job listings. This makes the app appealing to a wider audience, not just ACS members, and through looking at our stats, we realized that we have people purchasing it and all over the world in unlikely places. So that worked better than we even anticipated. And in June, we're going to release the app to the Apple newsstand, allowing for non-member yearly subscription option and push notifications. And we added a CNN YouTube channel to the app. We're also in the process of putting the app CNA app in Amazon to give it more exposure. Since our initial launch in August 2011, we've had more than 9,000 downloads. About 85% of them have been Apple. And we won the PSP Pros Award for Best Mathematics and Physical Science Product. We were also nominated for the ACS Catalyst Award. So, that all sounded really easy, right? Well, not really. We summed up everything in one slide there as to what we produced. What we did was we built the pilot app in 6 weeks and presented at the ACS National Meeting in August 2010. In January, we kicked off the actual CNEM mobile project and built our team internally and went through the vendor selection process. In February, we picked the vendor and the design and the development of the app began. We needed back-end servers to support the app and store the content, and we needed to hook into the authentication system, as well as connect to our workflow systems. We had our first release in August to coincide with our ACS National Meeting. Launches 1 and 2 were parallel launches of both Android and Apple versions. In January, we migrated the app into in-house servers and made general improvements in performance and tweaks to the design based on user feedback. In March, we released an upgrade of Android. Android has been a more difficult platform to work with, so it had lagged a little due to the diversity of the Android devices and changes in Android. And it continues to be a challenge for us, and we're working through that. Now we're in the midst of a release of 2.1, hoping to come out in June, which is a new feature release of Apple, and it will move us into newsstand. Note, I put 2 items on this flowchart, which are not in the release of CNA Mobile, but were critical to our timeline. In July 2011, we did the launch of our internal content workflow system. This system is the one I talked about earlier, which made it possible for CNA Mobile to convert data into XML and reliably and manually deliver it to the content of the app. That's a very big milestone. And the second critical item was the launch of iOS 5.0 and its minor releases in iCloud. This led to a hiccup in our app and required defect fixes in November. They were unscheduled but necessary, and you may have noticed a lot of apps had to go through a bit of a retrofit for that. So what did we learn? Keep your project team small. Make sure it's diverse enough to handle the project. All of us pitched in. Our team was about 7. We all pitched in and actively tested and reviewed and worked on the requirements and made sure that we all understood them thoroughly. Make sure you have the right experts to act quickly. When there's a defect, you can't let it go for 6 months. You got to deal with it right away. We adopted the agile approach to development, which is an iterative approach to building the product, allowing us to test drive our product with customers and build upon it based upon customer feedback, as well as adapt quickly to changes in the environment, such as new devices, changes to the platforms, and so on. Our team was located throughout the U.S. and in India, so frequent virtual meetings and close defect tracking are critical. We set up a JIRA defect tracking system to allow us to continually track problems and requirements and reduce any downtime and communication failures. Everything goes into the system, everyone accesses the system, and updates through the system. So that helps us make sure we're on track. Again, the standardization and automation of the content was critical to the success of this project. Our biggest lessons learned were know your audience and listen to them. Make it flawless, defects are slow, and load times kill you, and people will not come back. Keep on top of changes in your platforms and devices. Some key don'ts. Don't anger your members and subscribers. Ours don't have a long attention span. They expect a high level of quality, and you need to give them what they ask for and know what they expect right from the get-go. Don't put out a buggy version. Again, that will kill you. Don't treat Android and Apple the same. They aren't. They have unique features and differences that if you try to apply them to both, it may not work. So where to next? Back to our CNN customer usage models. Android still commands close to 1/5 of the market of our CNEM members. They have slipped here by 2%, but I think that's probably due to the iPad popularity. Where we have seen the greatest gains is with iPad. Note in 2010, iPad only accounted for 20% of the Apple users' devices. By 2011, it was more than double that. And the overall Apple market share for our users picked up 3%, going from 73 to 76%. This proves to us today that we made the right decision over a year ago. But it also shows how quickly the market changes and the pace we must maintain to keep up. Since October of last year, we've had the addition of Newsstand in Apple, giving newspapers, magazines, and journals a home. We have seen the release of iPad 3 and the Kindle Fire and the Nook Color. And all our readers are asking for them all right now. So they want, as soon as they see it, they want CNN on it. What does this mean for us? It means our app has to be versatile enough to weather these sorts of device changes and keep looking at what is on the horizon. You can't rest on your laurels. Keys to success. We had a number of keys to our success. We had a great project team and got senior management support and to empower the team and make decisions quickly and move ahead. We went to great pains to understand our audience, and we watched their mobile preferences. We focused continually on matching our device's functionality to what our users needed to accomplish and made it as simple and intuitive as possible. And we adopted device best practices like Apple using swiping and the press to delete functions. So use what's common to the device. We experimented initially with PDFs, and when we had a bad response, we moved to a more HTML integrated mobile view. We learned repeatedly that things go wrong, and you must be ready for things to go wrong and ready to respond. We innovated, moving into Newsstand and expanding into Amazon and adding video channel. And we listened to sometimes happy and sometimes frustrated voices of our users. You grow a thick skin and you try to give them what they want and make them happy. And finally, the biggest thing to get your development, once you've got your development done, is sell it. You got to promote, promote, promote. One of our ways to promote is we did a commercial that we put on our website and distributed. So I'll play this for you, hopefully. There's no sound. You can watch a person. Doesn't that look great? Hold on, if I can stop it. Okay. There's a video. And if you go to this view, u2.b/vtwm8crbgs. That's easy to remember, right? How can I get this to come up? F5? Okay. There you go. I would show you the video with sound, but I haven't figured that one out. Any questions? Yes?
How did you approach your institutional users? Did you let them have access?
When we did the pilot, we took it to our conference, where all our members generally attend, and let them test run it. We had a bunch of devices set out and a bunch of questionnaires, and we invited them to come in and play with it and give feedback.
But in terms of like an academic university or something, are you allowing students within the university that might get a site license to your publication access to mobile?
For this publication, we didn't do an institutional access. We did a member-only access. That's where we differed actually from ACS Mobile, and why ACS Mobile went free was because for institutional users, a lot of students didn't have individual memberships. They had just the institutional access. And so they were the bigger user of ACS Mobile for journals. For CNN Mobile, we realized that our focus had to stay, due to our pay model, with the member-only subscription. Other questions?
You just mentioned on that that the users are not willing to pay more on mobile devices, but you are still trying to find out
revenue
sources from mobile applications. It's not possible to reach have a
Yeah. Okay, so the question was, we found that our users don't want to pay extra for a mobile device, yet we're still looking for revenue sources. How do we do that? Have we been able to do that? For ACS Mobile, we've realized that the revenue is in drawing people into our product in general. So giving ACS Mobile away for free is in fact giving a wider audience access to content that they will ultimately buy. So the abstracts are free, and they're free everywhere. But if they wanted to buy the actual PDF of the actual entire article, they would pay for it, and so they would come through our paywall. For CNEN Mobile, it's a member benefit, and members really don't like the idea of us giving that content away for free when they're members and they've paid a due, and that's a part of it. So our approach, and we're coming out in the summer potentially with this, is to start selling ad space. And our sales guys are always ahead of us. They're selling stuff before you even have it developed. And we've had a lot of good feedback on people that want to pay for ad spots in our mobile app specifically. The key is for us is not to look at mobile as a gimmick that you sell separately. Your product is still your product. It's the magazine. It's just another medium to get it to the customer. So basically, we bundle. You know, if they've got it in print, it's just a part of the package, and it becomes kind of, in our case, it's almost a replacement for print, and it's also a replacement for PDF. We went mobile originally because people were complaining that they didn't like the experience of reading the PDFs on their mobile devices because they were getting it via email with the PDF, and it wasn't a good reading experience. So that was our initial inkling that we needed to go that route. So we've actually replaced and expanded people who were like, it's too much trouble. Now they're willing to get it. Other questions?
How many readers of CNN do you have, and what does the 9,000 downloads, what does that represent?
Okay, so we have 163,000 members. 123,000 of them, I believe, actively get hard copies and have active memberships. The 9,000 are how many people have downloaded. We haven't got great stats on what the breakdown of that 9,000 is. We expected they would all be CNN or ACS members. They're not. And that was a good thing for us because we realized, wow, we're hitting a bigger audience than we thought. And those people are paying for actual issues. We have, a couple of customers in Japan who are regularly downloading, and we haven't advertised outside of our membership base. So our move to Newsstand will be a part of a big marketing and blitz that will hopefully get awareness to a larger audience.
So do you know offhand how many of that 9,000 are buying a monthly issue of $2.99?
Not many. We're looking at about 25 a month.
I see. Okay.
So not a lot, but that's the same people coming back and buying.
Right. Okay.
We think. That's the other thing. You need to put a layer of stats gathering code into your app because Android and Apple give you some stats. If you had multiple mobile apps, they don't want to give you separate accounts. They give you one account. And so you get this big spreadsheet of everything. And so your numbers are very hard to break down.
Did you build any tracking of measures into the app? And if so, how do you use that to inform your application?
That's coming now with our next release. And we're building it based on what device it came from, what version they're using. And there's a number of different stats. For ACS Mobile, we built an in-house tracking stats that countless. What did they download? What article did they read? Everything. So we're going to be able to do more of that, especially with the addition of our ad server, because ad servers want to know click-throughs and they want to know what pages you landed on. So we'll have a closer track. That was something we quickly realized we were lacking. Your questions?
Do you have I think I believe both the CME and online, mobile, what's the time difference? Anything?
The time difference between delivery?
No. The target.
It's the same overall target. It's our ACS members. It's the ease of access, basically, that we're trying to make ourselves more mobile, more readily available. So it's not that it's targeting a different audience, it's just targeting them, I think, at a different point in their user patterns.
Do you provide institutional access to online?
Yes, we do. So that would be one big difference.
You mentioned that your project team started out at about 7, you kept it small. Did it stay at 7, and what's the kind of the breakdown of your project team?
Okay, we had 2 in-house developers, and they acted more as subject matter experts. So they don't really do the developing, but they help with the tie-in between our internal systems and our vendors, and our other development party. We have 1 Android expert and 1 Apple expert. They're strapped right now, so we get very, very little of their time. So once we got up and running, we're more independent. We have myself as a project manager, tester, and requirements business analyst. So I'm 3 people. And we had our business sponsor involved so that we could make the decisions we needed right away. And we have, I'm trying to think, we have a production person, the guy that will end up having to push the issues live and deal with any problems, Lewis. And we have Chad, who is also our webmaster. So that's essentially the team. And then Govinder, on his side, we have Govinder as our development vendor lead person, and Ritu is their project manager.
And so you kind of refer to only yourself as the tester. Who else is testing it?
The whole team.
In the organization.
The whole team. Yes. And when we have a big release, we actually send like a kind of a please help out to our other people who are available, and I've got extra devices, and everybody sits in a room and we do a roundtable. I find that's the most effective, because if you say please go test, everybody has their own little method of testing, and if they're not professional testers, it can be a little haphazard. So we'll have a roundtable session, sit down for 3 or 4 hours, and try every conceivable thing with the app, and with a comprehensive test plan.
Thank you.
Hi. Can you talk about the changes that you went through in the XML tagging process? You mentioned that.
Oh, the changes.
Yeah.
Okay. For our workflow project, I'm not the expert to speak on this. It wasn't done strictly for mobile. We just hopped on that train and took full advantage of it. The workflow project took about a year and a half to really implement. We had iterations of it that hadn't been as successful, and they just kind of sat quietly. And CNAM Mobile came along, coincided with our CMS system that we decided to put in place, and both of us required a more consistent delivery of content. So the whole process was a complete overhaul of everything. It uses InDesign, SiteWorks built the app, the interfaces. It's still going on today. It's very, very involved.
So who does the tagging? The editor side, or?
It's done by the system automatically. It's a script. So basically, they're given a form, and they have to provide certain elements. They have to provide a title, the author, the tag, or the deck, and all of the different components. And if they want to add a video, they have to provide a bunch of components or a bunch of pieces. They don't necessarily know that, or have to know, I need to put this tag here or that tag there. They just have to fill out the form. And when the form is completed, it goes through the system. And when it's run through XML, if there's a problem with it, it will get kicked back. And that's when our webmasters go in and say, okay, you forgot this, or we need to correct this, that sort of thing. And it goes through the system repeatedly until it comes out perfectly, and then it's dumped into a central location and picked up by all the different systems.
And that's right. And that's custom in-house.
It was a purchased system, but it had to be customized for our. So we had 2 development companies that we worked with for that.
Any other questions?
Ad sales were, were they different from traditional online and mobile, or how did that work out?
We actually have 3. We haven't implemented the ad component into mobile yet, but we will have 3 separate ad placements. So the print ads are different from the online ads that will appear on the website, and they're going to be different from what will appear on mobile. So when we sell to our advertisers or are being sold to, we offer them the package. So, and I think that's why it's so popular, because it's like an added value to the advertiser.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pam.